What's up, everyone? It's Matt Resnick, and this should be the last work in progress on this. We're going to work on the eyes, the teeth, and the base. So the first thing I'm going to do is work on the eyes. So I'm going to, again, I'll do as much of this on camera as I can. This is one of the few times I actually get an optivisor on. I don't use an optivisor most times. I find that I like to paint. I like to paint with it off because I find it cumbersome, and also I just think it. I don't know. You paint with the way it's gonna. You paint. It's hard to explain. You don't look at these with an optivisor. Is what I'm trying to say. Like in real life, you look at them without it. So I paint the same way you would look at it. I just dropped a little water on them. No big deal. All right, so I'm gonna start off my typical base for eyes. It's Games Workshop or Vallejo Game Elfic Flesh. It's like a creamy white. It's like a perfect base tone for eyes. Dang it! And I just got some in the hair that I just finished. I'll have to touch that up. Okay, so let's see if I can show this in camera. So the lens I use is a pretty wide angle lens on my camera. So I can, you know, these pieces are big, so when I'm trying to show something like this, it's hard to get really close. So I'll just kind of, so one eye is squinted quite a bit more. His left eye is really squinty, so it'll be hard to get up in there. But, you know, nothing's a big secret. I've got a little water mixed in with my paint. So the first, it's always handy to have a bunch of Q-tips by in case you get paint somewhere, like right there. I just did on the other side of his brow. So it usually takes 2 or 3 coats. And I let it run up underneath the eyelid a little bit because that's going to get a wash anyway of dark brown probably. That's what I get for trying to do this on camera. Trying to keep it in frame and show you what I'm doing, but it's really hard to get my brush in the right angle. Okay, that's the first coat. Not quite dry. We'll do. I'll put another one on. You can see my paint's relatively thin. It'll dry nice and smooth. I'm having problems here. I may have to do this off camera because I'm causing a lot of issues. Toothpicks and Q-tips are your friend when you're doing this kind of stuff, because these little Q-tips is a little scrubber brush, as I've shown before. Alright, I'm gonna run out, got too much in there. Alright, I'm going to have to do this off camera just because I can't angle him the right way and be on camera at the same time, so I'll come back. Okay, so I got the eyes base coated and sealed. They're drying over there on the side here for a few minutes. So the next thing I gotta do, again, I cheat, I use decals because I suck at painting eyes. So I need just to learn that really. So we're going for green eyes. So I've got these decals, they're kind of blue-green. They're kind of green on the bottom and blue on the top, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut the blue part off. And his eyes, he's got one eye that's really squinty, so I'm going to basically cut these evenly in half. So I keep them on the paper together. You may not be able to see this very well because, again, I have a macro lens, but I don't use it for this stuff. So I'm just going to basically cut right kind of here. This blade isn't exactly new, so it's going to be hard to cut it. So on his right eye, it's squinted quite a bit, so you'll see less of the eyeball. Yeah, this blade isn't very... I really should have gotten a brand new blade for this. Nothing in the world though. Okay. So this left eye is a little smaller because he's squinting, so you see less of it. So let's see if that sealer is dry. Again, these next few steps I won't be able to show a whole lot of it on camera because I have to be so dang close to it, to work. It was impossible to show what I'm doing. So I'm just trimming these decals up a little bit. Off camera here. I'm just trimming up. You guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just trimming off the white as close to the eyeball as possible. Okay. Put these to the side for a second. I'm going to bring over the statue again. Of course, that should be dry by now. Okay. Here he is. Got a little bit of water here in the cup, and I need a toothpick. And a brush. Gotta brush out. Alright. So the first thing I do is I put some water on the eye that I'm going to put in first. Just kind of flood the eye with water. This has been sealed. Just like that. Pick up the decal with my wet brush and put it in there. I'm going to wet it. I used to dip these in the water, but they loosen up pretty easily. So I'm just going to do it this way. And I bring it down on the lower lid so I can slide it up into place. Once that's released from the decal paper. This is where the toothpick comes into place. There it goes. Okay. I'm gonna put that right. So I just dried off my brush a little bit to soak up some of this excess water. And I get the first one placed. And have them looking up a little bit. I'm looking up into his left a hair. Okay. It's got this bright green decal. I guess his dark skin is going to look cool. It's going to pop. Okay. So now what we do is we get this set where we want it. I just push down with a Q-tip to kind of help soak up some of the water, and then I use Microsol setting solution. I use this. This is what I've always used. I say this in all my videos. My decals. It's a much milder setting solution. There are some other ones on the market, but they're pretty harsh, and this does okay. Sometimes I have to do it once or 2 times maybe to get it to really sit. So you put the setting solution in, and then you just let it sit and let it dry. And I'll get the decal to soften up a little bit and suck down to the surface. These decals are printed by a company called Archer, and I can tell they print them in-house. So they're pretty good. I've seen some really good eye decals on some commercially mass-produced statues, and I've tried to find out the source of them because they look really good. These look pretty good too. Once I'm done with them, they look good. So I'm gonna just let this sit for a little while, let this dry. And once that's dry, I'll put it in the other eye in the same manner, and then we'll seal it. So once it's sealed, I'll come back. Okay, so I got both eyes in and they're sealed. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and outline the eyeball in some black, really thin line black. So I just got a little bit kind of a dark, really super dark gray mixed up in my cup here. And then we go in and outline the eyeball. I should be able to see this. And I got a Q-tip here in case I screw up, which is always a possibility. I was at the store yesterday picking up some supplies, and the guy checking me out, who knows me because I go in there all the time at Hobbytown, he's like, you kind of know what you're doing when you're modeling. He's like, well, yeah, I mean, I guess. It's like, I'm still learning. He's like, well, you screw up. Do you ever mess up? Like, man, I mess up all the time. I told him like half of modeling is fixing things I've screwed up. Because I guess someone was in there. A customer was asking if people ever screw up. He's like, yeah. All right, let's see if I can do this on camera. See that, but I think I actually got it the first time. It never happens. I never get it the first time. I gotta do the other eye, which is harder to get to because it's super squinty. So once I do this step, then I'll seal it again. There's a lot of sealing on the eyes. We have to do. I'm not sure I'll be able to show this because I have to turn him a weird way to be able to get to the eyeball. I think I got this on the first try too. So one thing I don't like about these decals is that there's no black outline on them. I wish I had a little line of black around them. Okay, so I got that done. So I'll go seal these again, and we'll come back. Okay, so I sealed that again. Now in my cup I got mixed a really, really dark green. It's almost black, but it's not quite black. I'm actually adding just a little bit more green to it. So I mixed in basically this heavy green with some black to outline the eyes. I don't like to do just plain black. It looks like eyeliner to me. Hopefully this will be dark enough. Let's see. I think I'm a little too bright. You gotta be careful when you add black to stuff because it will kill a color super quick. So you gotta just put a little bit in at a time. Get some water in here. Nice, consistent, easy to brush on paint. Okay. So one thing about these eyes is that the one, his left eye, that's open more, it's got a bigger lower eyelid. So it'll have a thicker line on that one. That's just the way the sculpt is. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but do my best to show you. Oops, don't put it on his forehead. There's that lower lid. You can see it. We'll do the other one. I'm going to have to kind of flip him this way. So I got the lower lids painted. I'm going to let that dry down and see if it's dark enough. Like I said, I don't like to use black, but that's looking pretty good. I'm going to do the upper lid. This just goes, as we get closer to the end, we just tighten up the details. Get tighter and tighter and tighter. So again, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this because I got to flip him in a weird way. I'm sure his hand's going to be in the way. Bring this over here. See, I may have to flip him upside down. Let's see. Half the challenge is getting him in a position where you get the brush in there at the right angle. So, I know I'm blocking the camera right now, but I'll show you when I'm done. Okay. Looking pretty good. Let me take a look. Step back and look at it. Yeah, one thing I'm going to do, clean off my brush. I'm going to go and touch up this black around the eyes just a hair. More water on there to get it to flow better. There's that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I am going to go in real lightly. This black, just a hair on the bottom. Paint dries up pretty quick on the tip of the brush. Okay, that's good. So I had that dark green line, and right above it I just did a little bit of the black. Just get some more separation. They're almost the same color, but it just adds like a little shadow to that line. think those look pretty good. There's no water. Yeah. I spilled my water. I was gonna make sure. I've got two bottles that are exactly the same, and that's just stupid because I gotta make sure that I don't pick up the lacquer thinner instead of the water. So I always smell them first before I do anything. I need to really not do that. It's a bad idea. Okay, I need to stop messing with it. That looks really good. Got one little minuscule thing it's bugging me, and I should probably just leave it alone because I'll probably end up fucking something up. It's like so minor, but okay. Alright, I need to stop fucking with it because I'm going to screw it up. It has to do with the little line around the eyeball. It's just... I think that's pretty good. Okay, and go seal those. And then the eyes are done except for the final gloss coat, which is always the very last step. So I'm gonna go seal these and then we'll work on the teeth and lips and gums. Alright, so the next thing is gonna be the gums and the teeth. So I'm gonna do the gums first, and my reference photo is this guy here. So we wanna do the kind of the pink and then fade it to green. So I'm gonna do those with oils. So I need to mix up kind of a fleshy pink first. So let's see what I got. I've got I use Aptolon 502 Aptolon oils. These are from MIG. These are super nice. I bought these years and years ago. These will last me forever. So I'm going to use a little bit of coagulated blood, which is kind of a deep red, and I mix it on some cardboard. I'm going to get some white. I actually need to clean off these caps because the caps aren't on. This is just Snow White. So I'm going to mix those two together and see what I come up with. And I'm going to get a little mineral spirits in a cup. Let's see. Where's this guy? And I'm just gonna moisten my brush just a little bit in the mineral spirits in this cup here. And that'll just help kind of soften the oils up so I can mix them together. Okay, so it's really pink. It's not that pink. I'm going to put in a little of this, it's called Primer Red. I need to add a little brown to it. So I'm just going to add a little bit of mineral spirits on my brush here. So the great thing about doing this is I can mix up like a bunch of colors. I can kind of make a, this is actually pretty close to what's in there. What's on my reference? So I can mix like this color over here. I'm going to add just a little bit of brown to this. I think I got a brown. That's what I got. Yeah. I'm going to add a little bit of wash brown. Just a tiny, tiny bit. I want to kill a little bit of the red. So I got a little bit of wash brown over here. I'm going to take a little bit of that. Actually, I'm going to take some of this over here and bring it over here and mix up a little spot here. Yep, and that's about the color I want for the main color. Okay. I'm gonna wash this brush off. This isn't the brush I want to paint with, actually. I want to use them. I don't use a flat brush. So once I get the gums painted and get those and the lips looking good, I gotta let the oils dry for a little while. So I'll probably work on the base while those dry, and then I can seal them. So I'm gonna go in. I had a smaller flat brush. What's this right here? This might be perfect right here. Okay, so I'm gonna put all this to the side for now. Flip him up. Oops, I got a little oil on his chest. Comes right off though. The great thing about oils is that they stay workable for a very long time. And the mineral spirits doesn't hurt the previous paint layers. So I'll try to show this on camera. So I'm going to go in here with this color. And I don't care if I get on the teeth because those are going to get painted later. So there's only a little bit of gum showing on this side. And there's a little bit over here. I have a Q-tip standing by so I can wipe off any excess. Okay, so that looks pretty good. It's about the right color. I'm going to go in with this lighter color a little bit. Okay, so now, oops, I just wiped that off. Now what we want to do is we want to get a soft blend to the lip here. And actually it goes kind of from this color to the brown to the green. And a Q-tip is a really good way to kind of soften the edge. So I'm going to get a little more of that shadow brown here on my palette. And I'm going to mix that with a little bit of just a little bit of this white here. Take a little bit of this kind of brighter color I got going on, this more fleshy color. I think you need a little more white. It's way too much, but it'll work. I think I need just a little bit of this flesh tone. So basically we have a mixing up a value here, scale. So I got kind of the bright tone here, it goes darker, and it goes to this tone that's I have on the gums. I can get another little brush. I'm just kind of putting a line of this. It's actually a little bright. Kind of a little more of the brown. I'm kind of making a mess here. I get oils everywhere. I need to clean up a little bit. 1 second. I kind of got oils on everything. So I'm going to come back after I clean up. Okay. I think it was just from me opening the tubes of oil on top over this, so it kind of got the little crusties on there. I'm just going to get a little bit of this brown by itself. I should kind of need like 3 brushes. I need one for blending, this guy. I just use a Q-tip to kind of wipe up. Do the same thing on the upper lip. So I see I'm just kind of dabbing this brush. It's giving me a nice soft transition. So this upper lip, I'm just going to do it pretty subtle. Although he does have like a definite demarcation between his inner lip and his outer lip on the top. This is looking pretty good, I think. Trying to take a little bit of this off so it's not so opaque. I want to get this a little softer transition, so I'm kind of dabbing, then wiping my brush off to the side here, and then dabbing again, and that's doing the trick. Just add a little more around the upper lip. May have been too much. Let's see if we can blend it back in. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Usually the upper lip's a little bit darker, even on people. I went back to my flesh color a little bit, just a little dab of it, and we're gonna blend that back in. Okay, this one's looking pretty good. I'm gonna go back and try to take a little bit off the top. Again, I'm just kind of dabbing and then wiping my brush off. And that's just getting enough, just a little bit of the excess off, and allowing the green to show through a little bit more. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Soften up this bottom one just a little bit more. So now what I'm doing is I'm dabbing with my brush going vertical, and I'm hitting the very front of the lip, and what that's doing is adding just the teeniest tiny amount of this pinkish flesh color. So what happens is the center of the bristles of the center of the brush is hitting the lip with more pressure, and the outside edges are hitting with less pressure. So what that does is it gives me a nice soft transition on the outer bristles of the brush. So what it's doing is adding just a teeny tiny bit of that color. Yeah, this is looking really good now. That was the trick right there, doing that. I'm going to do up here. And I think the gums look good. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to put this to the side and let these dry for a couple hours before I seal it. The oils are pretty light, so typically you would let these, depending on how thick you put the oils on, sometimes you gotta let them dry for like days. I put them on pretty thin, so I usually let them dry for, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours, and then I seal them. I have in the past kind of messed up a little bit. If I seal the oils too soon, at first it'll look good, but then what happens as the oils try to escape from the pigments, the top coat turns kind of a funny color, so then you gotta wait and seal it again. You can fix it, excuse me, but it does kind of get this weird little haze on top of the top coat because the solvents and the oils are trying to escape, and they can't because you've locked them in. So it's just a matter of letting that dry more and then sealing it again. So I'm going to put this to the side for now, and then I'm going to bring the base out. I'm going to work on that, and then we'll go from there. And I see a bunch of little touch-ups I got to do on the green, on the Hulk, so that's going to be the very last step, is to do all my little brush touch-ups, which I always have to do, so not a big deal. So I'm going to come back and put the base on the bench. Okay, so while the oil's dry on the gums, I'm going to get the base knocked out. So I got it in black to start with. I'm going to get a crappy brush, like one of these old crappy ones, and I'm going to start stippling on some browns and stuff. Again, I just don't want it plain gray, so I'm going to start dark and work our way up to light. So this is going to be usually my go-to colors. This is burnt umber. Put some on my palette. Get on my brush. I'm going to start just kind of dabbing it all over the place. I'm more concerned about the crevices than anything. Little deep areas. Again, these are I'm using Golden and Liquitex heavy bodied acrylics. You can get them from your art store. Like I said, I'm just kind of worried right now, just worried about all the recesses. I don't want those to be just black. I'll just have some tone to them. So I think you get the idea here. Just stipple this on and all the recesses and some on top. Again, just keep it random. Don't make it look all the same. And then we'll come back to the next color. Okay, so I got that color on there. Now I'm just kind of mixing up a random color here. I've got a little bit of neutral gray, a burnt umber, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of green. Just kind of mixing it up here in my palette. Too much on my brush. And we're gonna start putting this on. And see what this does. I'm just going to keep working wet on wet. I'm not going to seal this as I go. That way all the colors just kind of blend together. This turntable's a little wobbly, obviously. Alright, so I'm going to do this, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like when I'm done. Alright, so this is what we look like now. So I'm just going to add a little more neutral gray to that same kind of mixture I got going over here. And we're going to keep stippling on, lightening it up as we go. Get a cup of water. Oh, that's the wrong cup, wrong thing. That's gonna melt. Okay. That's not gonna work. Sorry. Right. So now I got this, kind of this tone going. And the further I go along, the less I put on. Just starting to bring it up a little bit. Again, this is just kind of like the undertones that I like to do. And I might mist on a couple washes. You can airbrush washes. I like the stippling because it adds a lot of randomness to everything. As you go, you just keep layering it on until you get a look you want. And this brush will be trashed when I'm done. It was pretty close to being trashed before I started, but that's why I picked it. I have been getting the bottom side too a little bit. There's a lip underneath the base here. You can't see it unless you tilt it on its side, but there's some rock sculpted underneath the lip here. Basically anywhere I see there's like a solid color, I go and hit that spot. Sales call. So I'm gonna keep doing this, and when I got it the way I want, I'll come back. Okay, so here we are after doing the gray. So what I did, I stippled it and I dry brushed some of that gray on there. Now I'm just gonna mist on some washes, just to kind of give some different color variations. So these are gonna be the Vallejo Washes. They're water based. I can just spray them right on my airbrush. If my airbrush wants to work for me today, we'll see. So we'll start off with some. I'm going to do a bunch of different tones on this. This is European Dust. Again, this is just to kind of give some different tints. I haven't sealed this yet. Pull the base away from the back of my workbench so I can spin it around 100%. These going really light, so they're super transparent. So it's not obvious right away if they're doing anything. Basically anywhere on the base that's warm or got a warm tint to it, this is going to accentuate it. Giving it a light overall misting of this. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm going to do a little dark yellow. And just to kind of tint. This one's got a little more effect. I don't know what this is doing to everything. It's giving it more of an earthy feel. Even though it's rock, I don't want it to look just gray. And the base is still kind of flat. I gotta go doing some. Probably after this, I'll go in with some transparent color and do some shading between the rocks. And then the last step will be dry brushing highlights. I do have a blue here. I'm going to put a little bit of blue on here. Blue-gray. I'm going to go pretty light with this one. Now we're getting some nice different tones on these things. They're not all the same shade. hit individual rocks a little more. Get a little different color. So this is just shifting the color. That's what a wash does. Well, a wash usually is used to unify something that you're working on. Just kind of blend it all together, or you can do what I'm doing here and use it to actually pick out little areas. These few rocks have a little blue tint to them now. Which is nice. It's pretty subtle. I'm not sure if it's showing up in camera. Here, actually, like what that's doing. I'm going to do a little bit more on these guys. So I sent some photos of the eyes and the gums to my client, and he wants me to add some little bright green highlights in the eyes. So I'll do that when I go back and do the gums. This is helping a lot to break this up. Tinting these few rocks a different little cool color. They look kind of like slate granite. At least that's what these rocks look like to me. Little fog. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. Got some nice tonal variation in here. They all don't look just the same. Okay, now I'm going to go in with, let's see what I got. I thought I had some transparent black somewhere. Lavender, bruise purple, cocoa brown, smoke. Let's see what smoke does. Smoke might be the color. Black may be too aggressive. This smoke might do the trick. Because then I got transparent smoke in my brush. Yeah, that's good. It's got a little bit of green in it. Just gonna go and hit the crevices. Actually, I'm gonna do a combination of smoke and black. So it darkens it just a little bit. So I've got some transparent smoke. Put some transparent black in here. I'll mix that up. And now I'll just have a darker tone of the transparent smoke. Let's build this up slowly. I'm going to fill the crevices. Got some shadows here and there. A little more black. Alright, so I'm going to do this. This will take me a little while to go through and do all the shading. I'm just hitting the cracks, any little cracks in the rock, any little areas that could use a shadow. I'm going to hit that with this, and then I'll come back. Okay, so we're looking good. I went and did all that shading. I just sealed it. I thought about not doing any more, but I think I'm going to go and dry brush a little bit of some highlights. I'm not going to do pure white. I'll do like a, I'll add some white to this color I got going on already on my palette. Let's see right here, titanium white. I gotta go here in a minute anyway. So I'm just gonna add some white to this color. And we'll get a different brush. I need to get some more water. Be right back. Out of water in my little squirt bottle here, so I'm gonna throw that away and get a new one. So let's mix up a light gray here. Kind of like the darkness of this, but Hulk is pretty dark, so I'm going to bring it just a hair. A lot of times I go in and I'll go up all the way up to white, but I don't think I'm going to do that on this guy. I don't think it's fitting for this piece. So let's get a big brush right here, big flat brush. A little bit on. Another. I really need a bigger workspace, worktop. All right. Let's see if this is bright enough. Need a little more white. It's too similar to what I got on there already. This does dry down darker, so you gotta take that into consideration. Just gonna kind of hit the tops of these a little bit. Really just around the edges. I'm just going to bring it down to about right here. Just that little bit. Give some nice shape to the rocks and some highlights. Same thing over here. I'm just going to bring it down a little bit. I don't want to do it all over because I'll kill all the shading I just did with the airbrush. Just using the flat part of the brush. Alexa, stop alarm. That's my alarm. I gotta go here in a second. So I'll probably have to finish this up when I get back. I actually like the color I've got mixed up right now, so let's see if I can do this really quick before I gotta go. I'm just doing a little bit. just to break it up a little bit. Too much. It's really easy to do too much of this, and I tend to do that sometimes. I actually like the color of everything I've got going on, so I don't want to brighten it. I just want to add that little bit of highlight. I can get this done in about 10 minutes, I think, and it'll leave me enough time to get to where I gotta go. Just hitting the edges a little bit. I really like what I did with the washes, just going in there and kind of picking out some individual rocks. It makes a huge difference. I need to do that more often on rock bases, because the hard thing about rock bases, it's really easy to make it all look the same. It's like super easy. So just to kind of pick out a few rocks and give them some their individual tone made a huge difference in what this is looking like. I really like it, so I have to do that more often. I want a little more highlight something. I just go over it a few more times. As the brush loses paint, the effect becomes more subtle. You get some nice blending effects as the brush, as the paint gets exhausted on the brush. Some real nice natural effects. I also added a shadow around where the feet go. That'll help ground Hulk to the base. This may be it. This may be all I do. I'm digging this. Hit some rocks a little harder, like this one right here. Maybe this one right here in front. And I want this to dry really well before I put Hulk back on here, because I just put a lot of sealer on this, and I'll seal it one more time. Okay, I think this looks pretty good. I'm gonna hit this one pretty hard. It's the highest rock on the base. Same with this one. Alrighty, I think that's it. I think this looks really good. So I'll seal this one more time, and then when I get back from what I gotta do, I should be able to seal the mouth and work on the teeth. The teeth will take me a long time. Hopefully not too long, but it's a lot of back and forth on the teeth. Alright. See, I do this. I say, oh, I'm done, and I keep going. And you learn to stop. Okay, I think that looks really good. Some nice highlights and some really nice midtones. I think this looks good. So I'm going to seal this, and then in a couple hours I'll be able to seal the mouth and the eyes again. And I'll probably just finish up the eyes, get the little highlights put in. That way they can be done. That's it. Hopefully be an easy little thing to do. I got to put a couple of striations in the eyes, and then we'll do the teeth. So we'll work on that when we come back. Okay, so the base has been sealed. I wanted to throw his legs on there to see what it looks like, and it looks really good. So I'm really happy with the color choices and everything. I love the little hints of blue here and there, little greens and yellows on the rocks. I think it looks really good. So yeah, it's really nice. So now what I gotta do is I'm gonna go seal the mouth. It's been about 3 hours since I did the gums. I'm gonna go seal those. I'll work on the teeth, and my client asked to add a little more kind of bright green highlights to the eyes, so I'll work on those. And then after that, I just have brush touch-ups to do, and then he should be a wrap. So when we come back, we'll paint some teeth. Okay, so I'm gonna try to record this, putting these little highlights in the eyes. I just saw something. I got it fixed. Oils. Good thing they come off easily. Once I had some on my hand. I was picking this guy up. So I sealed the mouth really good, and the eyes again. That's drying. I dried it with the hair dryer. So now, let's see if I can record doing these little highlights. I may have to do this with my Optivisor on. So my palette, I've got some white and some kind of a bright kind of green color. I'm going to mix this together to make a pretty bright white, or bright green, sorry. I've got a really long lining pen here, or lining brush. Adding some very light striations. There's going with some pure white too. It's looking pretty good. You probably can't see what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. Okay, that looks pretty good. Here's the other side. I'm gonna go with this kind of this bright green first. This eye's harder to get to because it's so squinty. And this one we're going to need a Q-tip for. Just put a little saliva on it. So what I do is I wipe off the excess paint on my hand. So I get the right amount on my brush, on the tip of the brush. If you ever look at miniature painters, you'll see that their thumb is full of paint. That's what they do. They load their brush and then they'll wipe it off until they get the right consistency and amount of paint on their brush. So I'm having a hard time just getting to the corner of the eye here. I really need to come at it from this way. Crap. I had to try a different brush. It's not getting in there the way I want. Got the left eye looking good. I think it looks good. Where did it go? now I need to do, I think that looks pretty good. You go back with a little black and just touch up a little bit. Like that. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So we got little highlights in there now, and they'll pop a little bit more after I gloss coat it. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go seal these again, and then we'll work on doing the teeth. Okay, so now we got to do the teeth. So what we're going to do is, I'll probably have to do this off camera. I keep saying that because it's true. I'm going to mix up an off-white. I'm going to use kind of that Elfic Flesh again. Actually, I've got this color. What's this? This may be too pink. Yeah, it's too pink. It's real fleshy. I'm going to use that Elfic Flesh again, but I'm going to add just a touch of, maybe just a touch of, like an itty bitty bit of brown to it, so it's a little bit of yellow in it. Where are my mixing cups? Let me use this. One second. Okay, so I base coated the teeth off camera. And I just sealed them in with the hair dryer. So now what we gotta do is we gotta kind of do the gum line and in between the teeth, and I'm going to use oils again for that, because I'm going to use the colors I already have mixed up over here on my palette. And what I can do is create a little wash. If it's the right consistency, it should just flow into the spaces and stuff. So we get a little mineral spirits here. I'm going to reactivate these oils from earlier. And these brown. I want to do this over the statue like I did last time. So I'm going to get some, going to mix up kind of a dark red, brownish color. So I'm picking up the oils off my palette from earlier. Just kind of reactivating them. They're dried up pretty good. Sorry, I forgot I was recording. I was responding to a, I'll edit that part out. I was responding to a private message on Facebook. So I got this kind of wash mixed up in here, kind of fleshy color. I made just a little bit of red to it. I want just a little more mineral spirits, so I want to put some in a separate cup. So I got just some plain mineral spirits in this cup, and I just want to add a little more to my wash. I want to do a little bit at a time. So that's why I didn't pour it in. Yeah, I'm still trying to get like the right color here. I want a little more fleshiness to it. It's got a little too much brown in it. So it's just getting the right consistency. I don't want it too runny, but I don't want it too thick either. So it's getting the right consistency so that, man, I'm making a mess. Where'd that go? Okay. Sorry. Alright, so now we're gonna see how this does. I've got my little bit of wash right here. Again, I may need a little more mineral spirits. Okay, let's see what happens. It's gonna work, it could be a disaster. So ideally, I touch this to where I want it to go, and it runs just like that. Not sure if you're seeing that. So it's looking pretty good. I don't care if it gets on the gums. I really don't want to get on the lips. I got the lips the perfect color. So I can go in there with a clean brush and clean it up. So I'm just touching it to where I want it to go. And with the consistency, it just kind of runs in the cracks. I'll let this dry for a little while, and then I'm gonna go clean up any areas that I'm not digging. Now I'm going to pause. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I did that wash, and now I'm going in with a very slightly damped pointy brush, and I'm just going in and cleaning up any little edges or anything. I'm just going in and just barely kind of scrubbing away any little mistakes. Just super careful. It's looking pretty good. Just go tooth by tooth like a dentist. And cleaning it up. Sometimes the wash gets on the teeth where you don't want it. Maybe it's a little too runny. And it runs down the tooth. We don't want that. Not sure you can see what I'm doing, but it's too fine of it's too delicate of a work to go in there with a Q-tip. You don't have the pinpoint control with the Q-tip to do this. But I've been digging the teeth. I got just a little bit of yellow to them so they don't look pearly white, because I don't think Hulk should have pearly white teeth. I've also seen people go too yellow with them. Okay, I think we're looking pretty good. About ready to seal these up. Yeah, it's looking pretty good, I think. I'm gonna go ahead and put a coat of sealer on these, and then if I want to do any additional wash, I can. I went ahead and ran the wash between the lip and the gum on the top and bottom also. Just kind of helps unify everything, adds another shade in there. And I also took that same wash and just kind of blended it into the lip a little bit. But that's looking really good, I think. Now's the time, if there's anything that I don't like, to clean it up, because once I seal these, it's very hard to go back and kind of fix anything. Just skinning up some of these lines between the teeth. They may be a little wide. Again, I have a hard time stopping with it messing with stuff. I see little itty bitty things that bug me. Probably things that wouldn't bug anyone else, but they bug me, so I try to fix it. Alright, I think that's good. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to go seal these, and I can seal them right away because the mineral spirits allows the oils to dry like really quick. I hit with a hairdryer, and you can seal it, so I'm going to do that and come back. Okay, so I went and gave the upper torso a really good one more coat of sealer because it's a little inconsistent from just sealing the head. So the last thing I got to do is put some gloss on the teeth and the eyes, which I'm going to just use my I use just MIG, any kind of acrylic clear. I like this. It does a good job. It's not. It's just glossy enough So I'm just going to do that. Clean brush here. When I do the eyes, I do the kind of the inside of the upper and lower eyelid also. So I'll have give the eyes a little sparkle, along with the highlights I put in. And then I'm just going to get a bigger brush for the teeth. Use a flat brush, because what I'll do is I'll bring some of the gloss a little bit out onto the lower, to the lip a little bit too. Some guys use, they'll put epoxy on the teeth. I don't like that look. I think it looks really weird. I like how glossy this acrylic gloss is. It's not super shiny. It's just like just the right amount of shine, in my opinion. And also with this, if I get a little bit where I don't want it, I can just take a damp toothpick or damp Q-tip and wipe it off. So I think I can say with some confidence that this is my best Hulk yet. I really like the paint job. Really happy with it. Okay, so now we're going to do, I'll come a little closer to show you. So I don't want like the outside of his lip to look wet. I would just want kind of like the inside. So what I do is I take, it's kind of like dry brushing. I need a paper towel. Take a little bit of the gloss on my brush. I kind of dab the excess off. And I just come in and kind of fan it to the edge here. I can see where I got some on the outside of the lip. I don't want that. Just take a damp. I'm out of my hobby Q-tips. I need to order some more little pointy guys. So I bite the cotton off of one of these guys. So I'm just taking this and I'm just bringing it out just a little bit. Just kind of like that. Just clean up any excess I don't want. And with that, let's see, I'm put a little more gloss on the eye here. I was going to say I was done. Not quite. This one again. Alright. Let me come down a little bit lower so you can see the portrait better. I think it looks pretty good. with that, I can call this guy done. Let's back up and take a look at it. Alrighty. And there we go. Graven Labs custom Hulk kit finished. It's funny, I just got a private message from someone else who's getting one of these, and he's interested in having me paint it. So there you go. And I may have one or two little brush touch-ups I gotta do. I just saw one here on the pants. I don't know why. There's a little dot of purple I gotta do. I had a few brush touch-ups on the green. I'm gonna do one more look over, make sure I got everything, but this guy's done. Looks really good. I think it's the best one I've done so far, personally. I love the skin tone. Love the purple pants. The base turned out really nice. I'm real happy with the portrait and everything. So, yeah, I'm digging it. So there you go. Thanks for watching. And I'm going to send a few crappy cell phone pictures to my client real quick. I almost turned this around and the knuckle almost hit the paint rack, which would really suck. But yeah. So I hope you guys dig it. Maybe you learned something. I learned a few things. I learned doing the wash on the nails is the way to go for that. And doing oils for the gums is the way to go with that. I used to do the gums in acrylics. Oils is the way to go. The workability is... Ouch! Oh, that hurt. Oh, ow. I bent down and picked up a brush and I hit my head. That really hurt. The workability on the oils is like night and day, in my opinion, to acrylics. There are some guys that can wet blend acrylics all day long. I'm not good at it. I haven't learned that technique, so it's something I want to learn. But yeah, there you go. As always, thanks for watching. What's the next project? I don't know. I've got two projects here, and I don't know what I'm going to do next. One is the Master Solid Hellboy kit, and the other project is Graven Labs hanging Spider-Man that I'm converting to a symbiote Spider-Man, or the Black Spider-Man, for a client. So those are both cool projects. I don't know what I'm going to do next, but there you go. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.